Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. There's been quite a bit of changes at the corporate level for not only Frontier City and Hurricane Harbor, OKC, but for the region and for the chain as whole. Uh, Before we get started, I'd like to say a very good thank you to all of our subscribers, and hopefully we can get some more subscribers in here. And with that, Uh, let's go ahead and get started on this. So, the main thing that they talked about was mainly about the company itself and the major investors, I think the banks that invest into the company, which are hundreds of millions of dollars. And I didn't listen to a lot of it. I just listened to bits and pieces of it. Uh, the the thing on the Six Flags Investor Day 2025 presentation, what caught, I took some notes on what they were discussing and what they were not discussing. I did not take the notes on those. Some of it was very interesting, and it pertains to the parks themselves, the upper tier parks and the lower tier parks. So with that, the the one the number one that caught my ears was this new uh, season pass program. Uh, Now, if you look right here, that I'm showing you about this new season pass that they're sounds like they're fixing to implement sometime in the mid to late summertime. It may be later on in the season too. Uh, there's several questions that a lot of people were trying to figure out, and we still don't quite understand how they're going to do this uh, regional season pass. Uh, they they got it. Looks like they have it set to where it's uh, kind of like one season pass will fit for example, right here, Six Flags Over Texas, Frontier City, Six Flags Hurricane Harbor, OKC, and Arlington, Hurricane Harbor, Arlington, for one pass. That I, that's what we're catching on to, unless they plan on doing it for the whole region, for all of Texas, all of Oklahoma, for all these six parks properties, all one pass. But they've got it encircled as the OKC parks and the Arlington parks as one pass for the regional pass or passport, way I guess Cedar Fair likes to call them. We're going to call them season passes. Now, if you want the all park pass for the rest of the chain, you have to purchase all park pass, which I'm sure they're probably going to go up on the all park pass. We still don't know much about this new season pass program, which is what they're trying to do. Now, the next one is what they're showing is the company has lost uh, 10 million guests. Now they're trying to regain those 10 million guests that they lost from the pandemic. Um, from 2019, it was the company was uh, this is Six Flags that they're talking about, 61 million, and it went then it's dropped off to 47, 49, 50 million as we stand right now. We don't know about the 2025 season yet because they're still on. It's still ongoing because some of the parks just barely opened up. Uh, they also talked about a new Six Flags app, which will be implemented, I think, mid to late July, maybe mid to late summertime. One of those two. I did not catch that part on time. Um, let's see. Richard Zimmerman mentioned that the large markets will get the larger attractions that we can understand. You know, the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex is, which is what, little over 8 million. The Los Angeles market is roughly 12 million. The Chicago market, which is probably 10 million or so, maybe give or take a few. And of course, the New York metropolitan area up there, that's 20 million. That's a lot of guests. So the goal is to try and regain uh, the families that were lost during the pandemic and some of the individuals. Now, their larger attractions is probably going to be the major coasters in those bigger markets, which is perfectly fine. That's what they need to try and draw in the crowds again, the guests that they've lost. Now, as for the smaller markets, well, for an example, Frontier City, which is a small park, but it's also sitting in the 20th largest TV market. Now, their goal right now for those types of markets like Michigan's and Victory, which is sitting out in the middle of probably out in the middle of nowhere, in my view, uh, they're going to get those kind of parks like Great Escape, maybe Darien Lake, uh, those types of markets will get the thrill thrill rides, which is probably the flat rides, and of course family thrill attractions that will draw in more. That's what they're hoping to do. They can dig into the uh, market themselves and bump up the attendance at all the properties all the way up to 2028. There's the catch, 2028. I'll get in that in a little bit. The, that's of course that's Six Flags' goal. Now another one caught a lot of people's ears and eyes. Mine was the ears as far as selling off more of these parks or the leases to these parks. Richard Zimmerman did mention that they could do it in the near future, but none are planned at this time. Uh, there's one major investor that did ask Richard Zimmerman and the executives about could they not just sell the individual parts with an individual lease to someone else. And he replied, now this is what Richard Zimmerman was talking about, stating that, for example, 5 parts or one lease. The company would lose, if they did that, the company would roughly lose anywhere from 2 to 2.5 million lost guests. They're already trying to gain 10 million as it is they would lose on top of that if they did that an extra up to 2.5 million. So you're talking about 12 million guests that they'd have to try and regain back to the company. That's out of the question as of right now. Maybe some years down the road, if they're setting a goal and they just want to go ahead and do that. But as of right now, nothing. He stated that these are irreplaceable parks, and the company is looking into ways to digging into the local population. Some of these cities are growing faster than our larger markets are. He did not specify which cities. Another prime example is Oklahoma City. It's growing at a rapid pace. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. The 20th largest TV market with over 703,000, maybe 704,000 by now, and it's still growing. Uh, Richard Zimmerman also showed a graph of Magic Mountain and Knott's Berry Farm and how they're currently trending. Uh, Knott's Berry Farm is trending upwards, but Magic Mountain is trending downwards. They're not quite understanding that. It's in the second largest TV market and it's underperforming by their standard. Why? We don't know. That's just all that we caught. They're going to dig into that and they're going to pump in as much uh, investment into that park on and before 2028. Again, 2028 is their goal. I'll get into that in just a few minutes. Uh, Another one that caught my eyes, or my ears actually, is unique park specific merchandise. We don't know when this is going to be in effect or will take effect. We do know that each park has its own image. Frontier City's got its own logo, its own image, with the guns and the old Western style. Six Flags Over Texas has the Six Flags and probably the old Six Flags, which is everybody knows if you haven't already understood Six Flags Over Texas, there were six countries that ruled over the state of Texas. That's another prime example. Uh, the the company did note that they did talk about Six Flags America a little bit. They're selling that. Of course, they've already getting ready to close Six Flags America because the property has a high value. They can pay off some of their debt with that uh, selling of the property. Now, as for the rides, uh, he didn't get into specifics about the rides that I know of. Some of those rides are still too new. Some of them we don't know nothing about because they didn't get into specifics about those. They didn't even talk about those. They can be dispersed out towards the other properties. Uh, that's what I was catching on. But again, he did not specifically say a specific ride. Um, Another one is California's Great America. Uh, Down at the bottom, uh, one of them you can look at you can scroll and pause it and see what it says. California's Great America, whose land currently expires during 2028 and before the extension. Now, I don't want to get too far ahead of that because what we're understanding is they're not going to renew that lease after the 2028 season. Uh, I believe that's about all of it. And now we'll get into the what should be coming to Frontier City now. So there's two flat rides, one a tower ride, one a flat ride from California. No, I'm sorry, Six Flags America at the end of the season. The Sky Screamer, which is 242 feet in the air. It's a perfect fit for uh, the old eruption pad, and Harley Quinn's Insanity, which is a Zamperla Giant Discovery. Uh, the only spot that I can remotely think of right now where it can fit is where the uh, amphitheater is, not on the amphitheater, but where the grassy area is at. Uh, those two rides are basically new. They are probably not going to even think about scrapping those. Those two are probably going to come down here. They can't go to Great Adventure, or excuse me, uh, Great Escape because of the height limit, which is 130 feet. Uh, they don't want the scenery blocked. So the only other part that they can bring it down here is to Frontier City, which we do not have anymore. So with that, uh, I'm going to cut this one off. Uh, hope you enjoyed the video, even though it's a long one. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, subscribe, and we will see you hopefully this weekend on the next video. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.